Hey guys, thanks for coming back to the channel. Today I kind of got a funny story. So while you were gone, after we built the lumber rack, I went ahead and built a large kind of above or a raised garden bed, like a kind of a tall garden box. And I put it up on Facebook and sold it. If I'm better at filming than I was last time, I'm going to insert a picture of it right here. And if it's now an awkward video, I still suck at making videos, and I'll email you a picture or something. I don't know what to do at that point. I went ahead and fashioned this planter together and put it up on Facebook. After I put it up on Facebook, how many I have, which is kind of a unique question because I just usually make one of things and get rid of them and make another thing. And she said she wanted a pair. She wants another one like this for both sides of her porch. So we are officially commissioned to make another build of this. Now, although we already made one, we're going to make a second one. That's going to be our video for today. So the first thing I have to do is go ahead and sort some wood out, make sure I have all the parts that I need to go ahead and recreate this. Alright, so you can see we're not fully done building it out yet. We're kind of building stuff and putting stuff in the shop, moving stuff out of the garage. So the lumber rack's working awesome. Pulling a bunch of pallet wood up there. Right now what we're going to do is I'm going to sort through all that stuff over there. I have some pallets outside if I got to bust some new ones up. And we're going to see if we can get enough wood to build another one of these. And what I'm going to try to do is as I film it, or maybe as I go through the process, maybe not, I'm not going to film every step of it. As I go through the process, I'll go ahead and try to get a cut list together, and we'll see the parts, and I'll just put it in a document or something. I don't know. I'm still new at this. All right, so one of the things I learned after building a bunch of stuff with pallets is the first thing I'm going to try to do is find everything that is relatively the same thickness, which of course helps me cut down having to plane everything. All right, let's check the thickness. All right, everybody. You saw me picking some wood out of the hardware store over there. You get to see the other side of the shop. You get to see the other side of the shop from this angle. Safety first. I know, I got to get better goggles. Alright, check it out. Nice and straight. Yes, I know the board's crooked, but we're going to fix that too. But look, it's a nice clean straight edge, right? Let's do 22 more. All right, we got all those boards cut up, at least one good edge. Those couple boards over there you saw me take out, they're a little banged up, so I'm gonna have to try to do a little better milling on them or just turn them into firewood. But it's getting dark out, the day's coming to an end. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up, and I'll see you guys next time. Guys, so right there I had to fix that piece of wood. It had cracked after I started nailing it down and adjusting. You saw me pull the box square with my my Irwin clamps here. So all I do is take my chisel, pry the crack open, and I put a bunch of glue in there, let it drip through, closed it, clamped it down, and nailed the two pieces right there back into the side of the box. And you'll never see it. You won't even know it's there. Well, you'll know it's there, but don't tell anybody. It's not square. You just force it to be square. Now I'm just going to flip it over to the other side. You probably see in the camera how it's a little off. But we're going to pull that in together. As soon as we start putting all the boards on, it'll square right up. Alright, just like that, we got a box. Now I'm going to cut the rest of the strips. I do all the molding and the bottom and stuff. Those are all going to be 2 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch of those on the table saw. You know all the boards I already have one good edge on, so I'm just going to use that good edge and mark table saw up at 2 1/4 and go ahead and cut a bunch of them so I can start molding this in. See you in a minute. Hey guys, we're back at it today. Couple hours of regular work, and now I'm back over here at the shop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these boards that were kind of cracked and busted that I didn't use for the box, and I'm going to put them on the bottom. They're only going to be pieces, of course, that are like 18 inches long. I'm going to take those, glue them and nail them and screw them and stuff down to the bottom. And then what's going to happen is it's going to make this bottom part kind of visible, but then when I'm going to put the molding so it'll look fine. It'll be just fine. So we won't show this. Let's go and mark them out. Alright, so I cut all these boards to fit. I'm now going to glue and nail them down so they kind of stay in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to drill some pilot holes and put in the exterior decking screws that I have to hold them in place in the weather. The glue is going to be the strong part. The nails are just going to hold it so they're not wiggling around. And then the pilot holes and the exterior screws are just going to be added support. Hey, check out this next part. It's a video of me drilling holes. Now here's a video of me screwing the wood. Here's some exterior 2-inch screws. I'll go ahead and do most of them in a 2-inch screws. I got some of these little, or over there 1.5, and just smaller size screws. These are number 8s. Alright, listen, I put the bottom on that planter box right there. I'm going to let the glue set up for a little bit. You saw me wipe out the squeeze out from screwing it down. I'm going to let it set for a second before I come back. After I glue sets up a little bit, I'm going to go and scrape out the rest of the squeeze out. And I'm going to go ahead and, sand up the wood and polish the wood. Polished? No. There it is again. I'm going to sand the wood. Make it all silky and smooth. I'm going to smooth the wood. Nah. I'm just going to sand it. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm about to start sanding up this box right here so we can go and put the molding on that makes it look better. But before that, I wanted to show you this little attachment I got right here. Now I know a lot of you guys have the grinder sander attachment, and honestly that's what I was kind of looking for when I was shopping for it. But this disc right here screws onto the grinder just like a grinder attachment would, and it's just the disc. And I know it's not new technology, I know it's not a new tool or nothing, but I got this at Harbor Freight. No, there's not an affiliate link. I'm just not that good a YouTuber yet. I got this at Harbor Freight. It's like $5 or $6. And I've been building a lot of stuff out of pallets over the years. I've been using the wood and having to mill it and sand it and the belt sander and everything. This little disc right here, it is a 60 grit flapper disc for the grinder. Man, this thing works great. I'm going to show you when I sand this down, but it works great. It takes a whole bunch of wood off and kind of leaves a pretty good finish. But the problem is you can grind into the wood and kind of leave swirl marks, so you have to be kind of careful. But if you are looking for that disc attachment, I mean, I guess it's the same thing. If you look for that disc attachment, this one might be a little cheaper and kind of a better starter tool. And when I went to go buy that disc attachment, they didn't have it. They just out of stock. So we're going to go with this, and it works great. So let me show you. Alright, so obviously I didn't sand the whole thing. I just wanted to get the boundaries over there so I could fit in the molding nice and flat with a good glue base. And then I'll go back and finish it all up with some nice sand. Or nice sanding. But as you can tell, it kind of makes a mess. Next up we're going to do is cut down the molding to put around the planter. So I'm just going to take these boards that we cut earlier, got one good edge on them. I'm going to go cut them down to 2 1/4. And I'm going to count up all the pieces, or at least like linear foot or something we need for the list. And then we're just going to glue in and screw them on. I'm not going to record cutting down a board to 2 1/4 inches. 2 1/4 on the table saw. Oh, you're back. Glad to see you here. So I went ahead and cut all this molding down to 2 1/4 inches on the table saw. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply just measure it in place, mark it, and I'm going to wrap the whole thing going along the long edge first all the way around, and then I'll kind of do all the vertical ones. If you can see right here, this is where the bottom of the planter is, and see how far it sticks out. Like I told you, we're going to cover it in molding. So when you look at it, we'll have this molding here and then a piece that goes this way that'll cover it up so you can't even see that's the bottom of it. Just makes it look all more complete. And then here as well, you won't be able to see the edges of the board. So, just gonna mark it and cut it. Not to bore you with all the marking and cutting, I'll go ahead and cut up a bunch of them, and I'll show you how I do one side, and I'll show you how to do the vertical ones. Okay, so under the lens of not wasting time doing nonsense stuff on the video, I'm going to show you this little trick. So this one I already did, the one side, right? I just put some glue and I just hit some nails in it just to hold in place. I'm going to screw them all together later. And I flipped it over on that side. Now simple gravity and just the weight of the planter is going to help adhere the glue. Now I'm going to do the molding on the opposite side of this so they're the same length, leaving me the same length of molding here, rather than kind of doing one, so then they're all different lengths and they kind of overlap. I'm going to make them all the same, so I'm going to do these two right here, which, I mean, should be the same length as this, but I'm going to mark it and cut it anyway. And then flip it up this way and then do these top and bottom ones, which will wind up being the length from here, where the molding is, to to the top of that molding and cover the whole thing. It's kind of way I just do all the same cuts at one time. I don't know if that helps, but I hope so. Okay, fellow woodworkers, just because I'm a big fan of overdoing things, that is wood glue, screws and nails holding all that molding on. And of course, because I have to go bust up some pallets to get some more wood, I thought I'd go ahead and cargo strap it all down to make sure I got a good adhesion for the glue on the wood. You know, if you're not overbuilding it, you're simply not woodworking. Hey guys, I'm back. Listen, we had a couple of days of just cold weather, and then allergies and pollen started in, so I had to take a couple of days off and go do my regular job. Feeling miserable. But I'm back out here in the shop. I already busted up some pallets, because remember on the, well, probably just the part of the video right before this part, I had to get some more of the right thickness boards for all the molding. So right now I'm going to come down 2 1/4, and then I'll show you how we're going to finish this up and make some feet. Make some feet for the bottom part. That's going to be cooler than the molding. Hey guys, back over here at the chop saw. We're going to finish up the molding here in this little piece of video. I'm going to measure from the inside to the inside, probably just mark and measure and just kind of cut it on the chop saw here. Well, that worked out. Alright guys, so here's the picture frame molding. As you can see, if I take my little handy dandy square, each corner of the molding is square. And each one of those joints right here at the 45, they're going to wind up being nice and tight. We're going to glue them and nail them together. And the whole top of the planter is now going to be picture framed. Now you can see probably in the camera right here that this is a little off right here. I'm not super concerned about it. I'm just going to go ahead and shave it down so it matches. You know, like the same trick that you use for making corner molding or corner baseboard. I'm just going to go ahead and... Stand by. We'll put that in a blooper reel. I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off right there, kind of shave it down so it matches up. Hey guys, listen, I forgot to show you a little trick that I have for making the picture frame corners tight. If you can remember, remind me to show you the next time I make one of these planters and go ahead and show you how to do it. Make the 45s as tight as they can be using this pallet wood. Of course, that doesn't help you at all right now because I suck at filming videos. Hey guys, a quick look at the other planter. These are the feet we're going to recreate. So we're going to make these, of course, out of pallet wood. And maybe for all you pallet enthusiasts out there, I'll show you something to do with the stringers that come on those pallets. Just hang on for that little bit of kung fu. Now, you guys that work with pallets have probably seen these kind of, it might be like 2.5 by 2.5 or 2 by 2s or 2 3/4, whatever kind of funky measurement stringers that come in where the boards are attached to the top, and this is what they make the kind of the in-between the deck of the pallets on. So these are the stringers. Now some of the other stringers have the place where the forks go, but they also have these kind of block material. So I'm going to use the chop saw right now to cut them down into these 2-inch blocks. And then I'm going to take these blocks and bring them over to the table saw and cut two sides off it at a 30-degree angle to make the feet for the planter. As a pallet worker, I don't always get to use the stringers. I mean, I kind of keep them because I hope I'm going to figure out something amazing to do with them. So a lot of times I don't really have anything to do with them. These block material tend to lend themselves to do other projects pretty easily. But those ones with the fork holes in it, I can't ever seem to do anything fancy with them that makes it look like something purposeful rather than something slapped together on a pallet. So if you guys have any use for those stringers or any pictures or anything, go ahead and put them down in the comments below and let me know what you guys do with them. Because I got a bunch of them and I got to get rid of them somehow. So let's go ahead and cut these. 2 inches. Well, that's about how it's going to look. Now I could just kind of leave them like that and kind of call it done. I mean, that doesn't look terrible. But I'm going to go ahead and add some little bit of fancy stuff to it by cutting those feet on that 30-degree angle. And it has to match the other one, so let's go ahead and cut it. Hey guys, here's the cutoff that we're going to make a foot for the planter into. I tried to film it outside, but it's way too sunny. There's a lot of glare and stuff on the table saw. So I'll just explain it to you. Notice I marked an X. So the X represents the part that's going to be outside on the outside edge of the planter. Number 1 is my first cut. Number 2 is my second cut. And the top, I labeled the top because this is the part that's going to be against the planter. I'm going to cut it top side down through the table saw at 30 degrees and then rotate it and through the table saw at 30 degrees. And then what's going to happen, I have a prototype. It's going to cut number 1 this way and cut number 2 that way. So we cut it first like this. Cut number 1 goes through the table saw. I flip it 90 degrees. Cut number 2 goes through the table saw. We come up with this kind of fancy foot. So let's go ahead and make 4 of these for the planter on the table saw outside. Alright guys, let's try this out. This might be the best angle. The sun's right behind us, so it's pretty bright. Alright, so I'm going to put the X against the fence. This is my first cut. So number 1, I already measured it up so it cuts it right. I'm going to push it through. It's going to cut the angle. And then I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so the number 2 is facing me. X is against the fence, and I cut the other back cut. Four feet for the planter and all 10 fingers. I think if we're going to keep making those feet like that, we got to come up with a better jig or something. That cut is definitely sketch. Let's go ahead and glue the feet on. It's like blew up Jenga. All right, guys. Feet are all dry. Let them sit overnight. I'm going to go ahead and drill a couple pilot holes. And then countersink them. And just like that, you got no screws through the bottom. Sweet. Well, that's it, guys. New planter's done. Here's the original planter. Here's the new planter I made a replica for. The first commission project for Full Cycle Woodworks is done. We're going to drop it off in a couple of days. The customer right now is out of town. So we're going to go meet up and drop it off, make a little money on this situation right here, and move on to the next project. We're trying to clean up the shop before we do our next video. Our next video is going to be possibly a nesting box. I still want to redo that planer cabinet. I still want to make the bucket planters. So if you like this sort of thing, you like watching me build stuff out of planters and make terrible videos and make a fool out of myself, I would appreciate you go hit that like button and subscribe button. But let's try to get this YouTube video off the ground. Thanks. I'll see you next time.